Hey guys, my name is Moshpiti, and today I've got 3 replays in the notorious Era 2 heavy tank, the FV4211, and let's see what I can do with it. So first things first, we are on No Mon Han, and it's an encounter battle. We got the northern spawn, and I have no idea what to do on this map. So basically the first thing I do is try to get my bearings. Okay, northwest, northwest, northwest. Well, I guess I'm gonna go down. There's a corner that I always get stuck in a slugfest with heavies and medium tanks when I'm playing from the southeast spawn. Doesn't matter if it's encounter or a normal battle. So based off that previous experience, we're gonna head down with my friend here, Maniac in his light tank, and we're just gonna basically wing it from there. That's just something you have to do whenever you play on maps or setups on different maps that you're not familiar with. You basically just have to think back on previous experiences, what worked, what didn't work, where usually engagements have happened, where they haven't happened. You might not want to get into the thick of it, you know. I don't want to push the enemies knowing that it's going to be a lot of enemies pushing that corner, because that's where I usually would go, and I would always have backup. So instead we were trying to set up some sort of a flanking guarding position. As you can see here, I'm kind of double checking every once in a while. Can I see it there? Can I shoot there now? Not quite yet, so I keep moving forward until we find an angle where we can take shots and hopefully not get shot at. And let's see, now this is exactly how I envisioned it. They're pushing in just as I would, just as we would. And normally people just keep barreling down to the K line, so they just keep going down south, the 1-2 line here. We're not going to do that. We know that doesn't work for other people, so I'm stopping on this rock and try to side scrape a little bit here, hoping that shots don't come into my weak spots. If you're not familiar with the FV4211, the drive wheel is just a guaranteed pen. You're gonna see this, yeah, there we go. The RDF is just pounding through my drive wheel. Now I'm basically side scraping, and I should be pretty much immortal, except for the drive wheel. It is just made of butter, and the other weak spot frontally would be the driver's hatch, as you can see here. It's right underneath the gun if you're looking straight ahead at another FV4211. The driver's hatch and the drive wheel. Dead easy ways to kill an FV4211. Notoriously tough tank otherwise, but if you see one of those two spots, just go for it and you are almost always guaranteed to pin them. We cleaned up this side. Whatever remaining tanks they had just backed right off. My teammate was calling out, he's not seeing anything, and then I said, okay, we gotta fall back. Like, the push that we saw down here is now happening up top. And this is where the FV4211 just sucks for me. I love flanking, I love supporting teammates on different flanks, I love relocating a lot and trying to like maximize my efficiency with tanks. The FV4211 is just so freaking slow in Cold War Era 2 terms. It's got top speed of 48 kilometers if you don't boost it with anything, and it rarely even reaches the 48 kilometers an hour. Not really my favorite tank. And another thing this tank requires, as you can tell here, is patience. And I suck at that. I'm not a patient player. I'm a super aggressive player. My playstyle would be best described as hyper aggressive. But sometimes needs be, so here we are trying to be patient, just squirming on the spot. You can see there's a friendly FV4211 already engaging, right? Why am I not running in to support him? Even my teammate in his freaking light tank is doing that. Well, why I'm not rushing in there is that. Kingly history over there found out the hard way that when you get stuck close quarters with FV4211, even though its armor is just legendarily, notoriously tough, those weak spots that I explained earlier, they are so freaking easy to find in close quarters, and this thing is clumsy. It's like a slug compared to a lot of the other heavies, even the Russian heavies. Or especially the Russian heavies, rather, but even the British heavies. So I didn't want to push in there and let everybody see my weak spots. Now you can see what happens when I'm trying to force myself to be patient, right? I didn't want to rush in, because I'm so impatient, my focus is starting to wane. So by the time I actually start getting shots, I miss the shots because I'm so unfocused at the game. I just want to like get in there, you know, start kicking ass. But the patience paid off. We still have our health. Unfortunately, the forward that got to go around was able to take my teammate out, so that missed shot really punished us there pretty hard. But this is where that patience really starts to pay off. We're at a range where our armor really shines. This is where the FB armor really shines. Also because of the range, I'm able to preemptively dodge shots like that BMP one's ATGM. I'm able to respond to flanks such as this Leopard. Now, unfortunately, this is what happens when you get in close quarters with the FB. The first shot bounces, but it's so clumsy that I'm just struggling to just keep my turret up the enemy. There's no way I can angle my armor. No way I can really prevent him from hitting all my weak spots. And obviously the Leopards are just so freaking good at penetrating even layered armor that the FB just crumbles in front of them. Now imagine if I pushed in there between like 4 or 5 tanks, how fast I would have died. So this is why I had to be patient. It sucks to let your teammates die, but sometimes you just have to think a couple steps forward. Now obviously another Leopard is going to do the same thing. This is just something you have to get used to in the FB. People will run laps around you and they will flank you and they will get shots. But now, he's got us on one shot and he's trying to flank us again. I take the initiative. I'm not going to wait for him to push in. And see what happens? He fluffs his shot. Because we didn't give him the time to sort of compose himself and get his bearings, I'm able to reposition myself a little bit, force him into a different location where I get the shot off. So again, a little bit of patience in the sense that I'm not panicking because I'm on one shot. Instead, I'm thinking like, okay, well, how do I turn this into my advantage? Paid off. This is something I've always wanted to like showcase somehow, is that you could be the best shot in this game, like a crack shot. You could have immense technical knowledge of all the modules and stuff on tanks, but if you're not patient, if you don't temper all that knowledge with patience, it's just not going to transfer into an actual practical skill. Now, this Tyrann 6, if I remember right, hasn't exactly been an awful lot of help here, but he's finally pushing in. He's got a lot of health. Now, he pushed in around that forad that was in our flank earlier, and as he was fleeing away, we finally were able to finish him off. Again, just be patient with your teammates as well. Because this Tyrann 6, he has not been immensely useful so far. But I'm on a one-shot to pretty much anything. We have to cooperate with him. So I looked at the map. Oh shit, 2 FV4211s. I need this guy's help. No matter what he's doing, I'm going to help him, right? He can't read my mind. No matter what I want to do, he's not going to be able to just magically respond to that without any sort of communication. That's just my friend sending us his power so that we win this game. He sees something, right? I think he got spotted, so he froze. And I respond to that by pushing in from the other side, and we find one of the FBs. Thankfully, it's on one shot, but see the way it's moving? That smells like a trap to me, right? If I try to push him, there's no way his friend is in some sort of a flank trying to shoot at us. Now I see it on the map as well. The Tyrann 6 pulls off a flank, frags the first FB. Now I know there was a sniper on this flank because we saw him on the map. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I see this trick. So I'm going to position my armor where I'm hiding both of my weak spots. See this? My right side drive wheel is hidden, and the driver hatch is hidden. Unlike this poor guy with his FB out in the open, now we instantly pen the drive wheel and track him. And I don't know if he doesn't have a repair kit or repair crew or whatever, but we're able to keep him there, easily dismantle him. My weak spots are completely hidden, so we just shred him. Finish on 9,333 damage, 700 something assisted. Fantastic game, and really only possible because of my patience. And it was really hard. Let me tell you guys, it was really hard to be as patient as I was. Now I'm gonna show you 2 more replays where I try to explain that a little better. So let's move on to replay number 2. Alright, so replay number 2. We are on Deepwall Ridge. This time around it is Assault. We are blissfully attacking because this map is just pretty painful to be defending. Frankly, it feels like you're on the assaulting team as you have to break out of your own spawn when you're defending on this one. But it's not easy even if you're attacking. We have 10 minutes. We have to either wipe out the enemies or attack on the flag. And as we saw in the previous game, even though the FB is quite legendary for its armor, it is not immortal by any stretch of the imagination. It is also not much of a sniper, so even though I'm trying to help my teammate get some early damage here, again in his light tank, our cupola gets hit. Another weak spot, though I wouldn't really call that much of a weak spot. You've got kind of a 50-50 shot of penetrating it. But obviously they are able to hit it from even that range, which is just fantastic. Like, really kudos to them. That's a crack shot twice, right? So I'm like, all right, I get the message. Sniping is not what we're doing here. Obviously the enemies are also pushing in. I think they did a fantastic job of, again, breaking out of their spawn here, so we're gonna have to defend ourselves a little bit, but we are in a fantastic position. We've got our hole down into this little, I would just call this a pit, but this like divot in the ground. So basically all they see is our turret, which is just incredibly armored, especially at a bit of an angle. But give it enough time, they will break through our cupola, or they will push and get weak shots on our weak spots and all that. So we do have to be a bit aggressive here. Now thankfully we've got another FB on our right. FV4211s are even better in greater numbers. But the thing is, we're both trying to peek up here and pull back. And I'm at a bit of an angle, and he's like at an opposite angle. So I have to straighten out my tank because I don't want to block him in or block myself in by accident as we're pulling in and out of sync. On purpose, obviously, like you want to go in one at a time so both of us can keep putting in pressure. But again, going back to that patience, do not push in there. It is so alluring to push in there with this big, badass heavy tank, right? Guns blazing, get some ramming damage. The instant I would push in there, I would just get shredded to oblivion from all my sides. If they've got enough penetration, they will just penetrate my flat side itself. But also, obviously, the weak spots are quite big when you get closer up. The driver hatch is really obvious when you're looking down at it, especially from like higher ground. And the drive wheels are rather big at the front. Again, super easy weak spots. Now, they retreat. I don't know why. I think it was the wrong call, but that's fine. But for us, obviously, we get even more powerful when we have high ground. Because from high ground, see that driver hatch? I see it too. Now, easily penetrate that driver hatch. The FB even turned around so we get the snapshot in, because it's basically a guaranteed penetration from the rear of the turret and the tank. But see what the other FB did. Oh my god, teammate, what are you doing? He rushed in. Did you not watch the first replay? Dude, you never rush in. So he gets wiped out. I'm trying to kill this FV4211 first, because I think he's a bigger threat. But he manages to hide all his weak spots, short of the Quola, and I'm not just... Like I said, it's a 50-50. I'd rather just go for the T-72 AV here instead. The weak spots of that thing are, again, drive wheel and the gun mantlet. But because you can't really hide your gun mantlet when you're shooting, it's not even remotely the same kind of threat as this FV. But we go for the cupola and we roll a critical success and hit the freaking cupola actually instead of bouncing off. Now again, I so want to rush these guys down. I've got a lot of health, right? And I know where they are. But it is immensely easy to dismantle these things. You saw what happened to the other FB. That was just 2 tanks firing on him. And he was on the same health as I was before he pushed in. It's that easy to destroy these things. When you lose your patience, when you lose your cool. Now, see, the enemy is pushed up the river. I want to chase them down, so I can use this corner. But of course, the instant I actually try to be aggressive, a freaking Scorpion 90 rushes in. So I start backing off. Because what is going to happen, if they've got any sensible players anyway, they're going to try to support this light tank that is now flanking me. Now, the light tank couldn't really drain damage. But just as I was saying, their Magach 5 is now pushing in to support the light tank. He's doing exactly the right play, in my opinion. I commend him for that play. He actually even gets some damage in. Unfortunately for him, the light tank doesn't care. He's not much of a team player. He just got some weak shots on us and tried to rush past us and try to kill one of our teammates. And actually succeeded with the help of a sniping teammate as well. But since we know that his plan is to just rush past me, maybe get some snapshots in, I'm gonna aim to my right, preemptively, because my turret is slow and my tank is slow. And there we go, clean him up. We learned from the first time. Now, players always have habits, whether they're harmful or not. If you can notice immediately, like the way that guy engaged me, I had like 99% guarantee he's gonna do that again. And he did. So if you can put some of those like in your head, like, okay, this light tank's probably gonna rush on my, like give me a white berth and rush from my side, then you can take that into account the next time they come around. Now, we were able to pretty much shut down their attack. The Reds that were pushing down the river Well, you can see the last of them get taken out by another FV4211, because apparently we had at least 3 of them. Now that was a pretty juicy game, but again, it was only possible because I tempered myself with patience. Patience, patience, patience. It works with every tank, but in particular some of these really slower, heavier armored tanks. You're a Vanguard, you know, but you're not a Berserker, so just take that into account, and let's go into replay number 3. Alright, so replay number 3. Now we are in Karelia, and this map freaking blows for Cold War. From what I've understood, they're gonna be deleting it from Cold War replays, rather playlists anyway. Well, I can see why. But let's make the most out of it while it's still here. We got the southern spawn, as I'm struggling to make this boat of a tank turn here. Rush into cover. First thing, it doesn't matter how much armor you have, you must rush into one of the sides and take cover. Because we can actually see each other from our spawns on this map, which is the reason they're going to very likely be removing it. So first things first, go to cover. If you get the south spawn, always go to the right. We have a natural advantage as far as the terrain is concerned. And of course, we're in an FV4211. This thing is just gonna wreck this position. Even if I'm here alone, I'm gonna be able to basically shut down any push. Right off the bat, we get some tracking shots on an M103 and a BMP-1. The 103 is very patiently looking for a weak spot, and he actually gets a shot on our track, but he went for the wrong one. See the way I'm angled? He should have gone for my left side track. I went for the right one, which, even though he could penetrate it, has no armor behind it from that angle, so something to keep in mind. Like, you want to shoot into the tank, not away from it, if that makes sense. The BMP-1 went for a rocket. I let it aim it in for a while before turning my driver hatch away to make it fire into my spaced armor. And here is where the slugfest happens. This is what usually happens in general on Karelia. It becomes this, at first sniping from both spawn to another, and then it is a slugfest here. Luckily, my teammate in his RDF is able to pound in quite a bit of damage as they're passing in. They're being ultra aggressive. I get it, you know, they've got the numbers advantage, but you need to have a plan when you push in. And their plan is apparently to throw smoke that obscures their vision and gives us time to respawn, then split up without taking cover, and apparently get dismantled one tank at a time. Now, I want to push this Leopard. If you've been paying attention, there was something on my right, and I really want to push him. But I don't know, don't remember, didn't even see what was on my right. I just know there's a tank. There it is, it was a Magah 5. It wasn't a really big threat, obviously, but if you don't know, if you're in doubt, take it slow. Be patient. There's no point in throwing away your hit points if you could just wait a few seconds to get support. Or let the enemy make some mistake that you can punish. Now, we cleaned up incredibly fast here. There was not much to say about that other than let the enemies make mistakes, don't interrupt them when they are making mistakes, and punish them when they do. We're pushing up here, cleaning up the remaining tanks. This Leopard 2AV is kind of giving us some grief, but he's not going for me. We were able to track him in place, and I think I do out-reload him, so it's an easy cleanup job here. Now, my friend was letting me know that there's a light tank in our flank, but unfortunately there was also an Ignis that just completely wiped him out. That's what they do, they go for the light tanks first. Unlucky, but there's nothing we can really do about it. We just go for the bad manner of finisher to avenge our teammates and take out this BMP2. I'm trying to get him out before he destroys one of our teammates, but unfortunately my reload is just a little too long. Well, we go for our 5th kill. We're already on 8,500 damage. We've blocked almost 2,000 damage. Now, the thing with spaced armor like mine is that it doesn't really block damage as much as it absorbs it. So even though you could be blocking 10,000 damage worth of shells, if you're not like physically bouncing them off of your tank, you're not going to get actual blocked damage. So if you're trying to finish off like blocking damage weeklies or something, this really isn't the tank to do that in, just to keep in mind. Or bear that in mind, but the armor is incredibly strong. So you will definitely be absorbing a lot of shots. Now, we saw a BMP-1 on our left there. I just couldn't find it. I tried to see it with my true vision, but I couldn't really see it anywhere. And this is again where the FV4211's accuracy just really reminds you it's not a sniper. Like, this thing is really not meant for sniping. It's a mid-range tank. You don't want to push in too close, but you don't want to obviously snipe with it either. Okay, well, that's one way to take yourself back to the garage. We're not going to complain, but now we need to push in. I have no idea where the light tank is, but if I had to guess, he's fallen back to defend. There he is. He fell back to defend. And there's two TDs. G.I. Joe Wolverine. What? I've never... Like, before this game, I've seen maybe 2 of them in a game, and I've never had the chance to actually duel with one. So going in, I have no idea what the thing is. Basically, if you play World War II, it's an STRV, right? It's a Swedish TD, but I don't know that. Like, going in, like... My friend is telling me what it is, but I'm a visual learner myself. So, in absence of having sort of some better idea of what I'm dealing with, you're gonna actually see me basically in real time learning how to deal with a new tank that I've never encountered before. So we go for our shots and we miss. That's just the FV4211's accuracy on the move. And it's gonna punish us actually again. See right there? I tried to shoot at its cupola, but what actually happened was that the gun missed. But I read that as, oh, that's probably not its cupola. Well, it is. I did go for its cupola. I found its weak spot, but because it missed and I thought it ricocheted, I'm just gonna look for another weak spot for a while. Which is just obviously costing me a lot of hit points here. It's an honest mistake, but looking back at the replay, it's just I want to scream. Now I realize, hey, that is the cupola, and I must have just missed it. So I finally go for the weak spot. We take it out, but we're on 400 health. That is within 1 shot range of the primary gun of that STRV. We know the cupola is the weak spot. I'm never ever gonna fall for that again. But I really wanted to show you guys in real time the process of what happens when I run into something that I've never fought before. I didn't even know it existed. I've never thought to look it up on the tech tree. Now, unfortunately, we still need 2 shots, but he only needs 1. So we get taken out. The final tank in our team is not quite AFK, but he doesn't actually move for the next 8 minutes, and we lose by default. This does end up in a defeat, but we got 6 kills, 11,500 damage, 600 resistance on top. And we learned something about a new tank that I had never even encountered before. But anyway, I'm just gonna skip to the end. You can check out, here's the AFK player. You can check out the results of the STRVs. I think they did a fantastic job. GG to their little platoon. And I really hope you guys enjoyed. And I'm hoping to make more of these videos. And I will catch you next time.